welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do a brand new ABG tutorial. There's some things that I picked up on TikTok. There's some things that I kind of picked up just by seeing pictures, and I wanted to share them with you guys in a more in-depth tutorial. So if you want to learn some of these techniques and if you want to see just how they can transform your face, keep watching this video. You're going to learn a lot. Before we start, just want to let you guys know that I have a beauty school called Hyperreal Academy. You can visit us at hyperrealacademy.com. We are currently offering the 100-hour course with the AAM, which is the American Academy of Micropigmentation. And you do need this license in order to legally work in New Jersey. Permanent makeup, you can easily make six figures with no college education required. And if you guys want to learn more about permanent makeup or just the makeup industry in general, you can always shoot me an email on hyperrealacademy.com. And if you guys want to shop for beauty tools, accessories, prestige level makeup, and skincare, go on hyperrealpro.com. Use the code Kelly20 for 20% off your entire order. So before we start, you just have to make sure that you have your SPF, you have your moisturizer, and you have your serums, essences, everything that you want to put on your face. You better get that on before we start. I've been feeling really good about doing makeup recently because I fixed my hair. It used to be like this god-awful shade of salmon orange. Looked like king salmon. So first things first, we're gonna conceal the under eyes, and I'm gonna be using my Becca under eye corrector in the shade Light. And we're not gonna use a lot of product. We're just going to generally conceal that dark area. And we're trying our best not to cake too much underneath the eyes because, as you'll see shortly, we're gonna be doing a lot with that area. And I'm just gonna not do my base, and hopefully we can normalize skin texture, and hopefully nobody really finds my texture or redness to be particularly offensive. So I'm gonna be using my Makeup Forever Aqua XL right here. And this is the bronze shade I-42. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start at the center of the lid, and I'm just gonna apply it outward in kind of a downward motion. That's something that's really popular in Asia, doing your eye look kind of in a downward motion. And I usually avoid this technique because I don't think it's particularly flattering. But if you stylize it, anything could potentially look flattering. You have to make sure you blend out this product quickly before it sets, because once it sets, it's done. So take extra care to make sure your edges are blended out. So for our next step, we're gonna be creating a little bit of light. We're going to add that bit of glitter to give the lids kind of like a wide open, almost kind of wet, dewy look. And for that, my favorite eyeshadow, this is a really random one. I'm sure there's a million dupes out there, but this is like a really random eyeshadow. It's from my Tom Ford palette, and it's gonna be this middle shade right here. It looks almost like nothing because there's no base color, it's just glitter. And I love using this eyeshadow for just that wash of glitter that looks like it just looks like condensation. It looks really wet against the skin. So the way I apply it is with a finger, and I apply it directly over the lid. And I'm kind of tapping it into and away from the Aqua XL. That way it kind of serves as a bridge between your bronze product and your bare skin. And the more you layer this type of product, like a no color base but just glitter, the more you layer your glitter flesh tone products, the more it looks like wet skin. That's just personal preference. You can actually get a pretty metallic finish off of this. I really love this look for the ABG look because it just adds so much more interest. Because we're not adding any color to the center of the lid, so I always like to add a texture. If I can't add a color, I would love to add a texture. And if you guys are oily, there's nothing wrong with kind of powdering your skin a little bit before you apply your base. Just don't go overboard, otherwise you get cakiness and separation. So for our next step, in order to create definition on the eye, we're going to be using a light brown Makeup Forever pencil. So for this ABG look, we are going to be pointing the eyes down. And some people can call this the puppy liner. I've heard that before. And the way you do it is you point your outer corner down using this pencil, and you're almost tracing along this area, that fold. You're almost tracing against it to create little mini eye bags. And you can take the pencil on its side to shade and cover a larger area of color, and this is where we're gonna focus our shading. And the reason why using a pencil is really good for this step is because you have full control over your shape. And because this is a more stylized look, you want to make sure that you get your shape right. And if there's anything you need to fix, you can just sketch it right out. And of course, like everything else, this is my first time attempting this technique, so I'm paying extra attention not to like just mess it up. And as a professional artist, I just want to say I mess up all the time. People just don't see it because I hide it really well when I'm at work. And also for the videos, obviously, if I make a video that I think I messed up on, I just won't upload it. So there's a lot of experimentation that goes with makeup. I don't want anyone to get discouraged. If you feel like something just looks bad, go ahead and wipe it off and start over. That's what 99% of us, that's what 100% of us, I'm gonna say. That's what 100% of professionals do. And now is when you're gonna take your dense brush and you're just gonna use it to blend out the edges only, the edge of the pencil. Try your best not to overblend. Even if you do overblend, you're still, nothing's stopping you from putting another layer on top of your overblended layer. So there's always room to correct everything. So our next step, we're gonna be using our Natasha Denona Mini Glam palette. I actually stopped buying the newer Natasha Denona palettes because I have so many, but I feel like buying the mini palettes, it basically gives me a condensed version of the color story, and that's about all I need. Because I already have so much makeup and so much from the Natasha Denona brand that I actually don't need that much more. And when the palettes are smaller, you can fit more into your kit, so you have more options to choose from. So I'm going to be taking the darkest brown on this palette, and I'm gonna use this to just go right over the pencil. And we're just gonna take that shade right over top. So now you get a significant amount of darkness and you get a significant amount of definition. And if you think this is too dark and dramatic, no it isn't. Okay, if you think this is too dark and dramatic, you can always go into the lighter shade instead. You can swap this shade actually for this shade, and believe it or not, you still get a pretty noticeable result. Or you can blend the two together. But stick to the matte shades, don't bring in the shimmers for the outer corner because it doesn't look as good if you're using shimmers, it looks better with mattes. And the reason why is because we did so much to contrast by putting a lot of shimmer in the center of the lid, and we're about to add a lot of shimmer and a lot of glitter later on, so you really don't want to put any more shimmer, especially on the dark areas. It's gonna ruin the illusion of contrast. You can always use a clean brush to clean up your shape. Because we're doing a more prominent and precise shape, you want to clean it up as you go. You see how it's not just like pointing completely down, but it's kind of drooping down because we're adding to the outer corner? You still don't want the wing to just point completely down. I firmly believe that that is a very unattractive look on just about anyone. And don't forget, you have to still use your liner and you still have to put your lashes on. So what I recommend is you extend this color downwards and outward so your eyes look more narrow, but at the very, very end of it, just pick it up a little. So take the remnants of color on your brush and trace it right underneath your fold. Not into it, but a little bit underneath it. So you get that extended eye bag look. I don't know if it's attractive. I don't know if it's flattering. If you find that it's not flattering, like how I am right now, instead of having a little mini existential crisis, you can actually take your clean brush and just blend it out a little bit to soften the look. Some people can pull off the intense eye bags. I don't think I can. I know my lane. So I'm gonna blend this out. And now it's somewhat softer, it's somewhat more natural, it's a little more wearable once I blend it out a bit. So every time while you're doing your look, just keep checking and don't forget to just keep reviewing and take your mirror, put it out a little bit, push it out a little bit, and look at yourself from afar, look at yourself from close up, and see if it's working. If it's not working, no point in continuing if it's not working. I don't know if I should even contour this. Yes, I should. So the next step, we are going to be contouring the inner portions of our brow bone, and we're gonna we're gonna sweep this color all the way into our nose bridge. My favorite part, you guys already know. If you've seen 2 of my videos, you guys already know I do this every video. So we're gonna take this lighter shade, and we're gonna take this shade, we're gonna drag this all the way into the brow bone, into the nose bridge. From the brow bone into the nose bridge, you should blend this a little bit towards your eye socket so that the shadows can kind of merge together and be one uniform shape. And what you're doing is you're adding definition to your eye and you're adding more intensity to your look. And that's the whole point of it, to more attitude. You know, always more attitude with the fucking ABGs. And now we're gonna be using our highlight. So we're gonna be taking our Laura Mercier Caviar Stick, and we're gonna take this color right underneath our lash line, underneath. So we're creating a little bit of a bulge. We're gonna be bulging out our eye bag, and then we're gonna extend this cream color into the inner corner area. And take a clean brush and blend out the edge. Don't let there be any harsh lines, because with shimmers, it'll be really apparent. We're gonna be taking a brush, a clean brush, and we're gonna go into the highlight shade of this Natasha Denona palette. We're gonna cover that cream color with powder color, and that's gonna further intensify this highlight. And you wanna concentrate the most powder into your inner corners, okay? And then once you fan out the color, it's gonna reduce in intensity. And that's what's gonna create more interest and more of a flow in your look. And that's what's gonna make this stylized look so much more professional and much less cartoony. So you see how there's so much variation in texture, depth, as well as light to dark. So unlike my voice, this look has a lot of personality, a lot of depth, and a lot of emotions. I think it's a very moody look, and I'm a huge fan of it. I really like it. Okay, final step for the highlight, but only if you're extra. Take your Makeup Forever Starlit Liquid. So this is the Starlit Liquid. It goes on really nice. It goes on really dewy, and just like the Tom Ford eyeshadow, it gives you that bit of a twinkly wet look. That's very hard to replicate with a powder, so that's why I like the liquid. And then go into the inner corner tear duct. And you're gonna do a small sliver of that Starlit powder to serve as that final highlight, that final punch of color. So now you have this big, bold highlight. It's actually looking kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about it. To further accentuate the lower lash line, we're gonna use a pen liner, and we're gonna sketch out a few extra lashes. This step is optional. So next, we're gonna be using our mascara for our lower lashes. My choice is the Benefit Magnetic Lashes because science, and also because this formula is fire. And if you think that your mascara is too light, you can always just live your best life and do 2 layers. Just make it ultra dramatic. Next, we're gonna put on our lashes. If I can find my glue, we can put on our lashes. So before you put your lashes on, you should do a little bit of liner, just like a touch of liner, just to give your lashes a spot to kind of land. So using a wing lash for this look is very important because you want to really focus on the outer corner of the look. You don't want too much heaviness in the middle part of the lid or the inner corner. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our contour, and the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna kind of just do a quick base using my Hourglass Vanish Concealer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and conceal under the eyes, over my pimples. And I'm trying to let my skin breathe because I have so much sunscreen and product, just moisturizer and stuff, so I don't want to overload the skin. So that's why I always use a very light base. And that usually means that I don't cover everything, and a lot of things are just kind of left in the open. So in my opinion, I'd rather not cover a blemish completely than just like completely cover it, but the blemish gets worse over time. And I do want to, I'm in the camp of normalizing skin texture, and I'm all for that, so. So next, I'm gonna be using a contour palette, and I'm gonna be using my Anastasia contour palette. I'm gonna use the lightest shade right here in the left. Gently sketch out a contour shape. Then I'm gonna take an angled brush. I'm just gonna blend this out into the base. So now you have a nice chiseled contour. Ooh, looking good. So now that you have your nice chiseled contour, the next step is to add a little bit of blush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Makeup Forever palette. I want something a little bit sun-kissed, somewhat bronzy, but also a little pinky. And for all those adjectives, you just kind of have to mix your own shade. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm going to be mixing a custom shade using this middle flesh tone right here. It's a pretty neutral blush tone, and it's one of my most used colors when I'm working. And then I'm gonna apply this on the back of my hand just to have that color palette going. And the next one I'm gonna use is my Bite Praline multi-stick. I'm gonna scrape a little bit off of Praline multi-stick. And at this point, you can mix them together as is right now, or you can introduce another product such as the GlossierBalm.com or Embryolisse cream to kind of sheer it out. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this on the back of my hand, and this is what I got out of it. Gently melt that blush shade into my contour to get that bronzy blush going on. And for this, I really do want to be careful with the placement, and I'm going to just gently blend as I go. And then blend this out towards the apple of the cheek, but don't concentrate the color in the apple of the cheek. Just kind of blend it out so you get that kind of sweeping effect. So this blush technique is very flattering on people with wide cheekbones, which happens to be a ton of Asian people. I recommend using this when you're creating a more chiseled look. And when you're blending, you have to be very careful when you're blending two colors together. I see people on Instagram just like beat it like it owes them money. When you layer color, you don't want to just overly, like you don't want to over blend it. You want to gently introduce a little bit more color with each pass. And if you want to introduce a highlight, one thing that I recommend is the VDL primer. You can actually put this over your foundation. You can put this over any existing base. But in my opinion, this actually looks better underneath the base. It gives you just that right amount of highlight. It has a little bit of a cool tone reflect that just kind of pops out against your base. So I really like this product. I highly recommend it. I'm not gonna use a highlight because I'm very oily, but I'm still gonna talk about it a little bit so you guys can. Because ABGs, you know, we take a lot of pictures. I'm gonna be using my Makeup Forever HD powder, and I'm just gonna concentrate this toward my T-zone area, the areas where I have the most problems. And this diffuses the light as it hits your skin. So when you're taking photos, it actually tricks the camera into thinking that your skin is a little bit more smooth. That's that light diffusing technology, but in real life, it doesn't really do much, to be honest. It also doesn't set your makeup, so if you want to set your makeup, you want to use a setting spray or like a setting powder. And you see how, because I'm shooting in 4K, you see how the texture kind of disappeared a little bit. I noticed that my fine lines got much more fine, and my biggest pores just kind of like fucked off a little bit. So that's what I use HD powder for, is basically just to eliminate as many pores as I can, and also to eliminate as many fine lines as I can. But again, like I said, it only works through the camera. You don't really see a difference when you're in person. So final touch is gonna be the lipstick, and I'm actually gonna be using the same shade. And I'm going to apply this with a lip brush. So I'm gonna take a generous amount of this color and I'm gonna apply it as my lip color. And this is such a popular shade for this look in particular. And I apply it with a soft brush, a domed brush, so I get that really nice soft diffused effect. And you just extend a little bit in the middle of the Cupid's bow and also in the middle of the lower lip. That's what's gonna give you that overlined effect. Okay guys, so this is gonna be today's ABG look. Okay guys, that's it for today's look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was my first time trying it, as always, and I actually really do like it. I think it transforms the face really well. In my opinion, it adds just the right amount of intensity, but it also reads as really cute and youthful at the same time. So that's what really impressed me about this type of eyeshadow placement. So I'm a huge fan of the ABG look. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to see more from me, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications for my next video. Alright you guys, thank you so much for joining me on Beauty Talk. I'll see you in the next one.